going on, Nerd Army? Guys, welcome to another episode of Nerdsmerized. Today, we are going to be reacting to Everything Great About Batman v Superman by CinemaWin. So, this was actually suggested by a couple subscribers, so I'm definitely going to check it out. I told you guys I would. Been a little crazy lately, but let's get into this because I'm one of those few people that did enjoy Batman v Superman. Yes, there are things I would have changed, but every damn movie has things I want to change. So what's the difference? You guys just wanted perfection, and we didn't get perfection, and I admit that, but it was still not a horrible movie. But guys, all that aside, don't be jerks in the comments, and let's get into this one. Here we go. Everything great about Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition. Spoilers, but you knew that.
The comedian never knows when to quit. But at least Negan isn't killing Maggie in this scene. If there's one thing Zack Snyder has proven he's good at, it's slow-motion pistol firing. And he even ups the ante this time with the hammer and slide scattering the iconic pearls. No big surprise, the Zimmer score is ridiculously fantastic. Not even talking about each main character's theme yet. The in-between moments are beautiful. The music is something that sets the DCEU apart and elevates it above the rest. We've seen it countless times by now, but Snyder still injects some new poetic life into the death of the Waynes. You may think that scene title card is pretentious, but this is a great example of how serious Zack Snyder takes this world. Man of Steel was told through the perspective of Kal-El. A lot of this story, and definitely this opening sequence, is seen through our eyes. Everyone running away while Bruce Wayne runs into the unknown, towards the battle. That's some cinematic gold right there. Saving the innocent. This opening sequence is one of the best story setups ever and just plain great. We saw this battle from the other side, giving us that insider feeling, but it's still portrayed as chaotic and confusing. How many aliens are there? Who's fighting whom? It's exactly how terrifying this would be for us tiny little humans. And there could be no better reason for Bruce to start hating Superman than this pan out from a young girl losing her parents paralleling Bruce's own past. Yes? Yes.
Very true.
Now coming back to Zimmer's Man of Steel score, tying the two films together with more ethereal underwater weightlessness.
They did not tell me the interview was with a lady.
I'm not a lady, I'm a journalist.
Zing! I'm never a huge fan of straight-up evil henchmen, but KG Beast is a pretty intimidating dude. Trust of all, Superman edition. Rorschach must have got lost on his way home. Batman Begins was great, but jumping right into the third act of Batman's journey is really refreshing. We're introduced to Batfleck with his new brand and almost horror movie-style stalking in the corner, and then his wicked, creepy scurry across the ceiling. Exactly how you should feel about The Dark Knight. Water conservation through bath sharing. So, the new Batcave and Battech are pretty slick.
Funnel Fairy Butter Bar, Funnel Fairy Butter Bar.
Funnel Fairy Butter Bar, Funnel Fairy Butter Bar, Funnel Fairy Butter Bar.
We're criminals, Alfred. We've always been criminals. Nothing's changed.
Bat justification. But that's set up enough for me to forgive all the killing. Even Alfred says that Bruce is changing / has changed.
Sounds good, man. Cruel.
One fairly large point of contention is old Mark Zuckerberg himself. Personally, I think his over-the-top, slightly mentally unglued personality is a breath of fresh air compared to what everyone would expect from Lex.
And Rocky is radioactive.
He's almost a statement against the somberness of the other characters, stomping around like he owns the place. Since he pretty much does, considering the vast number of things he orchestrates to get a god and the world's best detective to battle it out.
This is very true.
Alex's theme is another perfect fit for the power-hungry, fearless, cherry jolly rancher loving psychopath he is.
Watch yourself over there and Gotham. All I'm taking is money.
Apparently, Perry hasn't seen this.
I'm not a cop. I'm a reporter.
Amazing the things you might think people wouldn't care about, but spending some time with Clark Kent journalisting it up gives us some Clark time and adds to his growing concern over the Gotham Bat. Tiny detail, but I love this little glimpse into the strategist that Batman is. Just by observing, he notices a weakness in an opponent that completely turns the tide of the fight.
Magical thinking of orphan boys.
I'm blocking the import license for your mineral.
Credit where credit is due. Luthor's quirky, upbeat facade cracks and twitches to that news, and Eisenberg plays it exceptionally well.
He actually did very, very well.
Two things here. How fitting is it that the World Engine is the sound that haunts Bruce Wayne's dreams? Next, my interpretation of what emerges from Martha's crypt is the manifestation of Alfred's warnings and Bruce's subconscious fear of the Bat taking over control. Or just Man-Bat?
And for that, he was given a thunderbolt. True!
And I personally wholeheartedly believe this to be pretense. He has clear social anxiety, and he uses the semblance of extroversion as a cover for how sinister he actually is. Also, for those confused by his motivations, he spells them out right here.
The bittersweet pain among men is having knowledge with no power, because that is paradoxical, and,
Superman, Supermaning. another beautiful scene scored so subtly and elegantly. A Superman saving people montage is the fastest way to fail to make up for his supposed negligence in Man of Steel. Wait, let me try that again. A Superman saving people montage is the fastest way to somehow still piss off the fanboys. Jim, who wrote this? Neil deGrasse Tyson is always a win.
How come Dad never left Kansas?
You let him die in a tornado, Jim. Seriously, who's been messing with my script? Shameless, Snyder. Shameless. But I love Watchmen. Also, both these articles are about exactly what they say they're about. Are filmmakers starting to listen to Jeremy and Chris? Because I have some great videos for you that all start with Dear Hollywood if you're interested. I just have to point out how much of what is going on right now is being orchestrated by Luthor to pit our heroes against each other. Passing off one inmate about to be murdered as directed by Luthor pissing Supes off, to another inmate, Wally, who becomes the unwilling suicide bomber pissing Batman off.
I can't even piss. Standing up.
Now, Wally, this is important. I need you to say this exactly like it says in the script I wrote for you. But I'm really not so sure I can say piss to a senator. Trust me, it's an inside joke. She'll get it. Bruce the Creeper. I like that. It's actually a fair assumption given Selena Kyle, Pamela Isley, Miranda Tate, Harley Quinn, but she is right.
Oh, I don't think you've ever known a woman like me.
Another premonition, vision, dream, nightmare signaled by the World Engine sound. Does Batman get any cooler than in this trench coat? Another amazing long-take single cut from Snyder, showcasing just how solid and nearly unbreakable this Batman is. Batfleck, and possibly his stunt double, earned his spot in this universe with this one set piece. The nightmare sequence works on multiple levels. For the casual moviegoer, it's Bruce's worst fears realized and a manifestation of what he believes about Superman. Scary stuff. For the comic fan or the casual moviegoer willing to do a little research, it's the Flash warning Batman about the potential/alternate injustice future where Superman becomes a tyrant ruler. Whether it's just a nod to hardcore fans with Darkseid's Omega symbol and Parademons, or a setup for the Justice League villain, I'm stoked. And a little bit of evidence that it wasn't just a bad dream are the papers still floating through the air.
To destroy.
This little knowing conversation and look between friends gives us such a sense of their history. Bravo to both actors.
Yeah, they both did really well. I really like Jeremy Irons.
I'm not trying to be crass, but since this film has been called confusing, I feel the need to point out these spoon-fed thematic lines. These are the questions this film asks. And while it's the main thing driving Batman to confrontation with Superman, Bruce is going to answer it about himself very soon. Yep. New Batmobile is dope. And this chase scene is one of the best, involving Batman with car crushing, some manslaughter, SUV shredding, and whatever you want to call this awesomeness aside. And then this happens.
Dink.
Listen to that operatic score build towards this first confrontation.
Score was gangster.
What more can you ask for?
Do you bleed? You will.
There are no words. What a punch to the gut. Holly Hunter really killed it in this scene. Or got killed by it. No matter what Clark does, he feels lost, alone, and like no decision he makes is ever without casualty. And the look on his face, while surrounded by what we can only assume is pure horror, says it all. Jeremy Irons is just the man. He doesn't replace past Alfreds, but he's able to carry a scene all by himself exquisitely.
Yeah.
Right out of Arkham City. You silly, silly dude. Batfleck's workout routine. And of course, a Batfleck training battle prep montage is the fastest way to kill Superman. I've already raved about the score, but for me, Wonder Woman's takes the freaking cake.
The
Wonder
desecration.
Woman's is probably the coolest.
Some defense of Luthor's ability to create Doomsday. Remember this?
100,000 different worlds. Teach me.
That's good enough for me. With Carla Gugino as a teacher, how could it go wrong?
All Langfar marched away.
Not Lana! Another scene we were a bit confused by, but it's just a visual representation of Clark's struggle. Should he even bother Supermaning, knowing there will always be consequences and collateral damage? That's some classic Superman for you right there. Always there to comfort Lois Lane, even when he's saving her life.
God is all-powerful. He cannot be all good.
Lex lays it out for us again. And this wasn't a secret kept for the Ultimate Edition. Lex hates God for myriad reasons, most of which seems to come from the abuse he endured at his father's hands that he feels God did not protect him from. Now that he has a physical embodiment of God in Superman, he can finally have his revenge. All these Justice League cameos are great, but Miles Dyson messing with Cyborg? Did you learn nothing from T2? When the first trailer dropped, I actually shared it on Facebook with the one complaint that they hadn't seemed to have learned their lesson after the backlash from Bale's Bat voice. I stand so corrected. The voice modulator is awesome, the Bat mech suit is awesome, Batfleck is awesome.
He is.
That first little touch, like flicking a fly, love it. People complain that Soup should have tried harder to explain. Really? You wouldn't be a little annoyed? And his plan, even after all this, was still to subdue Bruce into listening. As much as I can't wait for them to be buddies, it's fun to see Bats kick a little butt. Yep. So good. Here we go again. From what I can gather, this is the moment lots of people, especially the critics, turned off their brains. This is not my usual defense of the indefensible. This is plain as day fact. If you didn't get it, please pay attention now. Batman does not spare Superman because their mothers share the same name. Batman has spent 18 months obsessing over killing this alien who can destroy the Earth. It isn't until Superman uses the name that the alien becomes humanized. At first, Batman becomes even more enraged because he thinks it's another trick. Once he realizes it's Clark's mom's name, he starts to understand that maybe they're not so different. He never considered the evil alien had a human mother, or let alone would be willing to die for her. Bruce couldn't save his mother. No matter how many goons Batman brands, he was a helpless kid when she was killed, just like Clark is now. He'll never be able to bring his Martha back. Now he has an opportunity for redemption. It literally has nothing to do with their mothers having the same name. That was just a spark that you can see snapping Bruce out of his kill rage that showed him Superman wasn't pure evil. With potentially his last breath, he asked his killer to save someone else. There's no argument. It's not confusing. It's not grasping at straws. It's in the narrative. It's the entire reason we were shown the murder of the Waynes one more time. This moment goes down as one of the biggest problems amongst the dissenters, when it's actually one of the most emotionally stirring and theme-appropriate scenes if you're paying attention. And the reason he decided to team up with Supes is because he's finally able to listen to logic now that the kill rage is gone. New Batwing is amazing. And while we're onto things they got so right, the new suit that's a callback to the original black and gray is by far the best Batsuit yet. How the cowl and mask are molded to his face in a permanent scowl, the way the suit looks battle-worn, and how it's the most comic-accurate ever. And now we come to possibly the best set piece in the film. Bat gadgets attacks from above like Arkham Asylum, which turns into one of the best Batman kicking butt sequences ever.
Fuck yeah.
The best fluid fighting style, the most powerful blows, and just brutal.
Love that fucking fight scene.
Brutal. Brutal. And some serious beast mode.
I'm afraid useless.
I figured. The cape?
Saving your new friend's mom. Doomsday is fine. Whatever. I don't really care. At this point, I look at it as an excuse to unite all of our heroes and give Superman a way to prove how far he's willing to go. Which I'm totally fine with. And he's sufficiently scary and powerful. Saving your enemy. Superman's alive. Bang! And my brain exploded from far, far, far too much awesome. What the heck?
I've killed things from other worlds before.
Wonder Woman literally doesn't not steal any scene she's in. Double negative for effect! And her theme kills. I don't care that I already gave it a win, it kills! This is what I mean about Doomsday. Whatever. It could have been a big old bag of marshmallows. Angry marshmallows, obviously. But seeing these three work together, especially with Wonder Woman now, is so winning.
Fuck
It should
yeah,
go
it
without
is.
saying that this final fight is epic. Everything about it is epic-tastic. And the epicity of Wonder Woman is epictacular. And not a single second of epicness let us down. I mean, I'm saying it anyway, so epic. That was a little smirk like she's having a grand old time.
She's having fun.
Now that's some teamwork. Self-sacrifice. Some of the most meaningful self-sacrifice ever. Even after this world rejects him, he still is willing to die for it because he believes this is my world. And whether he's dead for 5 years or 5 minutes, he still gave up his life to save humanity. One more score win for the beautiful choral voices in the background. Perfect stage setter. No one seemed to get too upset when they showed Thanos at the end of Avengers, but this upsets everyone. Well, you don't know what we can find. Just remember, the fantasy will set you free. Also gross. The juxtaposition of the simple farm boy funeral, the military funeral, is a great final illustration of Clark's duality.
Got my checkbook to pay the funeral director.
He said it's all taken care of.
By whom?
I'm in the stoner.
Must have been IHOP.
Must have been I.
Again.
Help me find the others like you.
Perhaps they don't want to be found.
They will, and I'll fight.
Yeah, Justice League.
Just a feeling.
Call it a premonition.
And they heard it, but in the dark, among the stars.
If you really want to hate Eisenberg, just write it off like he's being controlled by Darkseid. Easy enough.
I enjoyed Eisenberg.
As you've realized by now, I chose the Ultimate Edition because, number one, I wanted to, and number two, this channel has always been about the great things that actors, directors, composers, cinematographers, and even the occasional producers do, not the studios. The studio cut this film down from Snyder's vision and left it the theatrical mess it was. This version was the film we were meant to see. At the end of the day, I feel some real deep sadness for a lot of the fans who didn't like this movie, especially DC comic fans, because the rest of us got a sensational Batman-Superman movie. Oh, and just for fun, the best Wonder Woman representation. Moreover, call this a cop-out, but had this movie come out 10 years ago, everyone would have lost their minds. But we're so spoiled. We'd be hard-pressed to enjoy a simple beat-em-up Batman v Superman movie, not even mentioning the story-driven one we were given. I'm not saying it doesn't have flaws, and reusing characters that have been portrayed in the past is always a risk and always upsets some people. But the characterizations were unique and apropos of this universe. It came up in Man of Steel, but Superman is alone on this planet. Lois does the best she can, but ultimately this movie shows us how solitary he feels. This film was a perfect continuation from Man of Steel and how he dealt with the aftermath of those events, leading to his ultimate sacrifice for his foreign world he calls home. No one will ever forgive my joke about Batfleck at the end of my Man of Steel video, but none among you saw his performance coming. Obviously, he doesn't need any defending at this point. Batfleck was great. This Caped Crusader, on the other hand, gets some hate for a couple reasons. Killing and killing with guns are the biggest issues. And while Batman does occasionally kill in the comics anyway, I think the bigger puzzle piece here is the type of Batman we're actually getting and where he is in his journey. This is a war-hardened, jaded, grizzled, Robin-less, Joker-beaten Batman. His morality and the line between criminal and hero have blurred. That's his arc. It's the whole point. He spends the first half of the movie hunting Superman and planning his murder. Not to beat the dead Martha horse, but that was his turning point. He looked into the mirror and saw Joe Chill, or whoever killed his parents in this continuity. At that moment, he returns to the Batman we know and love, evidenced by sparing Lex and not even branding him. Lex was quirky and goofy and not the Lex we're used to. Again, although closer to some early comic incarnations, this was also his beginning. And if you don't understand Lex's motivations, they just couldn't have spelled it out more.
I can't
He
wait
hated
to
his
see where
father,
he's
he
going.
hates God, he believes the oldest lie in America to be,
that power can be innocent.
and most importantly, he wants that power for himself. I'm sorry that his ultimate plan wasn't about real estate this time. Fingers crossed for next time. I'm not going to go too much deeper into the story, other than to say if you went into this expecting a relatively straightforward Marvel-type plot, just stop doing that. The DCEU is not the MCU.
Exactly.
DCEU is somber, I agree, but it's not without humor.
Did you find the spear?
A little bit.
Most of which comes from Batman and Alfred, but Superman had a few one-liners too.
I don't know how to lose.
You'll learn.
There weren't multiple stories in this movie. Unless you want to call setting up the Justice League a separate story, but even that, Bruce is setting it up because he just witnessed Doomsday. So, the Superman sequel discussion of should there be a Superman and who watches the Watchmen was a direct setup for the Batman story. How far is Bruce willing to go until he realizes he's becoming the very thing he set out to stop? It's a line right out of Aaron Eckhart's version of Harvey Dent's mouth in The Dark Knight. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Honesty is goodness.
Could this have been 2 movies? Sure. Doesn't mean the story was difficult to follow. If nothing else, I hope this encourages you to go watch the Ultimate Edition if you haven't already. It is worth your time. In the end, we got a lot more of Lex's plan and how intricate it was with everything he set up and how he attempts to frame Superman and pit Batman against him. I also appreciate the extra motivation for Clark throughout his investigation of the Bat. While I stand by the theatrical is still a pretty decent movie, the studio removed some of the heart and really butchered a lot of the flow by just randomly moving scenes around, like this one. Since they cut Jenna Malone's scenes, they interspersed this bathroom scene in the middle of Batman's getting ready for the party scene. Just so bizarre. They just reordered random cuts. I really hope the studio learns from this next time and just releases the original cut. Take the loss of an extra showing and realize that the millions of dollars you forfeited from those immediate negative reviews would have been far made up by the tens of thousands of people who decided not to go to this movie based on a 27% Rotten Tomato score. Or ignore us and keep doing what you're doing. Obviously, Zack Snyder is just a hack. It's not like this is the 3rd time his vision for the movie has been the better version. Everyone totally loved Watchmen and Sucker Punch's theatrical versions. Totally. And I totally take back everything I said about my faith in Snyder and Goyer. Totally. But Batfleck, man, have you seen Reindeer Games?
It's gotta be my brain. All right, guys. So that was awesome. I mean, they made some amazing points. That movie was very well done. The score was phenomenal. I love the fucking score from that movie. Holy crap, I love it. But they made really, really amazing points. There were so many good things in that film when everyone didn't like this or that or these couple things. They let it bring the whole movie down. There was so much that was positive with that movie. Then we got the Ultimate Edition, which they're talking about. Then it got so much better. We got to see everything that we were missing, everything that we wish was there, and really got to enjoy this film for what it really was supposed to be. And I'm very excited about that. I actually love that version, and I will definitely watch it again very, very soon. But guys, definitely let me know what you guys thought about their video, my reaction to their video, and everything you saw here down in the comments down below. Make sure you guys hit that like, thumbs up button if you would be so kind. And make sure you subscribe to Nerdsmerized to keep up with me and all the other videos I do every week, guys. I'm Andrew. You have been watching Nerdsmerized. Peace out.